Hello, investors. This is Ted Zhang, Portfolio Manager at Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, 4:53 p.m. coming to you from New York City in New York. Stay in the market. We're still in an uptrend. We still are on four coveted green arrows for the GROTECTION gauge as well. Market leaders extended but acting well. Short term, medium term trends are all above their respective moving averages, and therefore we have the four green arrows. What happened today? Market momentum stalls on Powell remarks, and we'll get into more of what he said later on. 21 over 21 list down 1.24%, six stocks up, zero neutral, 14 down. Turbo 12 down 0.71%, five stocks up, zero neutral, seven stocks down. Big 8 down 1.47%, RG8 down 0.60%, S&P 500 down 0.55%, RSP up 0.12%, Qs down 0.67%, QQW down 0.26%, Dow Jones down 0.19%, Midcaps pretty much flat, down 0.06%, Russell down 0.24%, Global 60/40 equity bonds down 0.19%, Protection down 0.83%, and Turbo down 1.03%. This is the first down day for Turbo in 15 days, so it had to really happen at some point. So let's jump right into it with the chart of the S&P 500 as always. Really nothing wrong. Still well above the AEMA. Above average volume, but lower than yesterday. We rejected 6,700 whole number by 48 cents. And really today, still relatively lower volatility, especially as the 21-day ATR drops to 0.73%. But today was really just a trend down day. And after these Powell remarks here, we sold off even harder. Pretty much what we talked about was that he stated uncertainty in inflation and that the markets are fairly highly valued right now. RSP continues to go sideways, building this handle. Perhaps we can break out above this 190-ish level. The Qs reject 600, still well above the AEMA. Distribution day here today, though, but we don't really consider distribution days nearly as much as what the market leaders are doing and what the indexes are doing respective to their moving averages. QQEW breaks out of the base and pulls back to the top of the base. I want to see that hold this 140 level and continue higher. Dow Jones reversal after making new highs. Midcaps forming this flag as well. Russell reverses after putting in a new all-time high back into this range. I don't want to see this completely just fail again for the third time. The VIX starting to curl up a little bit at 16.64, but nothing too concerning yet. The dollar rallies, undercut reclaims, but rejects the 8 and 21 and looks to be trending downward again. Gold just continues higher, super strong gold, and really the macro tailwinds are higher debt, higher inflation, irresponsible fiscal policy, monetary policy. Silver, same story there. Bitcoin, we break the 821 and 50 yesterday, and we continue below today. Really critical level here to hold 112,000, so we'll see if it does. Ethereum pulls back to this 4,100 level, which is the top of the space. We'll see if it holds. Maybe we need an undercut reclaim of 4,000. Solana pulls back to this 210 area after rejecting 250. And finally, in bonds, 2 years down at 1.7 basis points, 10 years down 3.7 after rallying after the Fed rate cuts. But there's not a whole lot going on right now. With that being said, that wraps up the inter-asset correlation part of the video. And now onto the tail of the tape. We're still operating in the bull case as we're trending above the 21 EMA. The main piece of the news today, first is Powell on inflation being uncertain and valuations in the market being fairly highly priced. We also had MU earnings today. They beat expectations. They saw Q1 3.6, 3.9 versus 3.10 FactSet consensus. They see revenues at 12.2 to 12.8 billion versus 11.9 billion FactSet consensus. And then finally, we have GDP Thursday and a PCE Friday. Today's keys, we're watching S&P versus the 8 EMA and all-time highs. Close above the 8, but below all-time highs. Q's watching against the 8 and all-time highs. And Russell watching against the 8 and all-time highs. Day count, breakout, day 9, the breakout, day 10. 15 days above the 8 EMA, 16 days above the 21 EMA. And expectations are still positive. Keynote, S&P ATR drops at 0.73 from 0.77. Strong sectors today. Bonds are up. Energy, real estate, utilities, oil and gas, and the ARC X ETF, not double X. That's the space ETF. We see like Rocket Lab, KSY strong today. Dollar was down. Tech, discretionary financials, solar, crypto miners, well, more AI data center, compute names, China, RK, and mega caps. In GROTECTION today, we sold Reddit as we broke the 8 and 21 and back below 250. That puts us at 1.52 beta, 6.13% open heat. In Turbo, we trimmed A-Lab as it broke the 8. Now we're going to trail the rest of the 21 EMA. That's all we did. 2.3 beta, 5.53% open heat. The bottom line is market momentum stalls on Powell remarks. Tomorrow's keys, we're watching S&P versus the 8 EMA and all-time highs, same with the Qs and the Russell. I want to quickly review the GROW holdings and the Turbo holdings. Of course, we can skip the S&P as we did that, as well as IWM. ETHA for both Turbo and GROW, we're watching this 50-day, this 31 level. That doesn't hold. We'll likely cut the rest of the position. SC does break the 21, but we're giving it to this low, watching that closely. Tesla for both Turbo and GROTECTION, just trending nicely above the 8 EMA. Nothing to do there. Hood for both portfolios makes a new all-time high. Great action. Dash for GROTECTION, looking to build a handle and break out. MDB for GROW, kind of a bear flag forming here, projecting the 8. The 21 EMA remains key for us. MP for both portfolios, tagging the 75 level after we held the 50-day. Undercut reclaim that level, broke up this low cheat, and looking to build a pivot right there. Palantir for GROW, looking to potentially make new all-time highs. NVIDIA for GROW as well. Comes back in on the inside day. I just want to talk about this in a second. Snow kind of pulls back after yesterday. MBIZ makes a new high, but closes just above yesterday's close. And CoreWeave inside day as well for both GROW and Turbo. A-Lab, we talked about it. BABA, just for Turbo. Great trend, still riding the 8 EMA. TEM is starting to look ominous. Failed breakout on FDA approval and a follow through to the downside now. That is close to be on the choppy block. BE, big down day, 10%, but really it's just back to the 8 EMA. It was just wildly extended. And finally, two more names. Herein puts a new high, just trending above the 8 EMA, and then LDU. Inside day, right at 3, closes right above 300, acting really well. So that being said, let's go to some charts of interest. First, I want to talk about is Amazon. Huge down move today, minus 3%, breaking this upper trend line. Pretty much the FTC is suing them for potential malpractice in coercing / manipulative practices to get people to sign up for Amazon Prime and then making it hard to cancel. NVIDIA gives up most of yesterday's gains, even though it's inside day. That $100 billion OpenAI deal, there's some comments that came out this morning that perhaps it's a little bit incestuous. NVIDIA is investing $100 billion in OpenAI, and then OpenAI is buying their GPUs. OpenAI is partnering with Oracle with compute deals, and then Oracle's also partnering with NVIDIA. So there's a lot of this going on. And this is reminiscent of a little bit of the .com, where Cisco and other .com companies operated with these practices. Probably the same situation here at CoreWeave inside day, but still looks great. A theme that's been really strong today is Rocket Lab or space theme. broke out of this consolidation above 50. Let's see, maybe we can put in a couple tight days before we get going. That'd be great to see. ASTS really has some undercut reclaim of that 42 level and has skyrocketed higher. PL after this gap continues higher. PKSY is climbing up the right side of the space as well. And then rare earthing, MP is acting well. METC is looking to make a new high. USAR is breaking out. UAMY saw a deal, $245 million deal with the U.S. agency. And then MSTR on the downside, I'm watching potential short here. Bear flag, see what happens tomorrow. Super extreme relative weakness. Now, finally, let's go over the 21 over 21 list. Up on the day, oils were strong today. VLO is on the 21 over 21 list, up 2.4%. Broke out of this cup with handle and trending above the 8 EMA. We already talked about MP multiple times. App 11, just what a trend above the 8 EMA. Some of these trends are just absolutely amazing. Dash talked about, NBIS talked about, Hood talked about, GDX. This gold miners trade has been unbelievable as well, trending above the 8 EMA. That's exactly what we want to see in these winners. On the downside, Reddit, we stopped out. SC is definitely a little ominous, breaking the 21. Carvana, looking to put in a cup with handle. Elab already talked about that we trimmed. NVIDIA talked about. SoFi rejects 30, but still well above the 8 EMA, so nothing wrong with that. Net, just a little choppy action right here at the 8 and 21. Tesla talked about. CoreWeave talked about. First Solar tried to pop his head out, but rejected. And that really wraps it up for the 21 over 21 list. For Turbo 12, Rocket Lab led the way, up 6.22%. See what happens tomorrow. Really, really would love some sort of action like that. METC, rare earth name. INOQ makes new highs. Unbelievable strength in quantum, even though there's really no fundamentals back in the company. KRMN makes a new high. PAAS silver, strong with silver as well. Irene makes a new high, but reverses. CRDO is down, breaking the 8 EMA. TEM, failed breakout, and then follow through action. Wayfair breaks the 21. Unity breaks the 8. AAOI continues to chop around, but really setting up a nice cup with handle here. And then BE down 10%, but just back to the 8 EMA. So bottom line today, really just normal uptrending action. These bumps along the way are completely fine. We're having even tagged the 8 EMA. That just showed how strong the market is. But we are aware of Powell's comments on inflation, and we have a huge inflation report with PC Friday, so that will be key. That being said, I'm going to wrap up today's video. It's Tuesday, September 23rd. If you have any questions, you can email me at ted@revereasset.com or Twitter X is ted_Zhang. Phone is 855 for your wealth. That is 855-732-5932. Website is revereasset.com, and then our social medias are at Revere Asset on YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok. That being said, this is Ted Zhang, portfolio manager at Revere Asset, telling it like it is. Thank you for listening and have a great rest of your day.